We ain't found Sith.
Warning, the following podcast contains speculation, which may be confused with spoilers, although it may also contain spoilers. You have been warned.
Hello! Welcome to issue 82 of We Ain't Found Sith. I am joined today by sometimes co-host, Raul.
Hello.
Hey, bud.
Hello.
So, Raul's here. That means we're talking WandaVision. Pedro, I'm assuming he got the memo. I don't know. He hasn't confirmed nor denied. If he hops on, we'll add him as we go along. But we're gonna kind of jump into it. But before we do, since the last time that we spoke, we've gotten two trailers that I wanted to discuss. The first one is Godzilla versus Kong. Now, Raul, I know I sent you the link. I don't know if you'd seen it before, but did you get a chance to check it out?
I did, and so I feel like I'm missing out on something because I didn't watch the last one with I forget her name, the girl from Stranger Things. She was in the last Godzilla
with Millie Bobby Brown.
Right. That one had like Mothra and all that crazy.
It had Mothra, and it had King Ghidorah, and it had Rodan. It had like all the classic. Well, not all, but a lot of the classic monsters.
So you can probably enlighten me and some of the audience, but
okay. So the last one, the previous one, there's a weird whole backstory. Everything is kind of tied in together through this like Monarch Corporation, which is the one that we meet in the original Godzilla movie that is like they track monsters and they study the monsters and all of that. They're the ones in the movie Kong Skull Island that the researchers work for and stuff like that. And in the last movie, they've been working on a technology that kind of like allows them to like attract away the monsters by like, I guess, mimicking the sound of like the alpha monster or something like that. It was a little weird, and it wasn't very well explained.
Good sci-fi for you.
Yeah. But basically, there was like a rival faction to Monarch, and this guy was like, no, the monsters have to like destroy half the world because the world is destroying it. You know, the crazy environmentalist, which they a lot of times go to with these things as far as. But anyways, they uncover King Ghidorah, and so that's the big fight of the movie. And they establish this whole thing of like among the monsters, among the kaiju, there's like an alpha kaiju that all the other kaijus like, they fall behind and basically follow their orders. So it establishes this whole fight of like they were following Godzilla, but now with Ghidorah they follow. So it's a weird look. At the end of the day, it's a freaking monster movie. The monsters fight. That's really what everybody wants to see. But this movie we pick up. So it's now like 60 years later, 70 years later. Skull Island was what, in the 70s?
I'm not sure. Was Jack Black in that one? Or am I
No. You're thinking of King Kong, the movie from like the early 2000s. That was a remake. Has absolutely nothing to do with this franchise.
Okay.
Yeah. Kong Skull Island was the one a few years ago with Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson and all that.
I missed that one.
Yeah. So in that movie, we get to meet a young Kong, who's an adolescent, is what he's described as in the movie. And they talk about how he's going to grow and all of that because obviously they knew they were going to do a Godzilla versus Kong, and that Kong was too small to fight a Godzilla. But I don't know, bro. I'm in. I'm in to watch giant monkey versus giant lizard.
Yeah, it's like Pacific Rim, fun movie. You know what you're getting into. It's nothing, no brain power involved, just straightforward. And sometimes, especially in how the world is right now, sometimes you just need that,
Yeah.
just a little escapism, in and out. 2 hours.
And I'll be honest, I'm just sad that like I won't be able to see it like on a big screen.
Well, I mean, who knows, right? Maybe vaccine rollout will accelerate, and
Oh, it's coming out on HBO Max. I'm not going to spend money on that movie if I don't have to.
okay, so it's not a dual, because I know some movies they were trying to do like a dual.
Yeah, I think wherever there's open theaters, they're trying to do it. But I have HBO Max. If I don't have to pay, I'm not going to.
True.
Especially because I want to see like 20 minutes of this 2-hour movie, which is the fights between Kong and Godzilla. So it's like
just straight for the fighting.
Yeah. Now, of course, the internet being the internet, I don't know when these people that cut together these trailers are going to learn, but the internet has already discovered, unless this was put in there on purpose and is not actually in the movie, this might not be Godzilla that he's fighting. This movie might introduce Mecha Godzilla,
which is another Godzilla. It's not the same guy.
It's a human made or an alien made, depending on which version of the Japanese movies you're watching, robot version of Godzilla.
Oh.
And so there's all kinds of YouTube videos on this. You can go in, you can see where they're like breaking down the footage from the trailer, and like, look, if you look here in the background, you can see here there's a schematic on the screen, and you could like, and all these things pointing out where like they're like, we think this is King Kong versus Mecha Godzilla, and then maybe the real Godzilla will show up at like, at the end of the movie or whatever. So it's the internet's already doing what the internet does with these things, which is breaking everything down and analyzing it.
Well, what kind of relationship did Godzilla end up with? Oh, yeah. There he is.
Yeah.
Well, that's another reason why like the internet's been all like, I don't think this is actually Godzilla, is because up until now Godzilla's been a good guy in these movies.
Well, and I allude to that in the trailer, something about like, oh, something's wrong, something's making him come out like this.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like maybe he's being attracted by some type of.
Well, that's why like all these like rumors of like it's not actually Godzilla, it's Mecha Godzilla makes sense.
Right.
Pedro, I don't know if you got a chance to see the trailer.
Oh, the Godzilla one?
Yeah.
No. Got him.
You never know. It might be.
Yeah,
all right. How about our next trailer? Did you get a chance to see the trailer for Coming to America 2?
No.
Well, I did. I sent you guys the link. Pedro, I mean, if you want to like, go watch it real quick while Raul and
stream
I talk about it.
You can't stream it?
Bro, Warner Brothers has been very like, very, very quick to hit that like copyright strike button on anybody that like shares their shit.
Well, we'll just, dude, everyone on the internet does a reaction. We'll react to it. Well, I'll legitimately be reacting to it. Although my stuff will probably be like,
I mean, look, I know we're not a monetized podcast because we don't have the number of followers, but we already had that one issue where our Kevin Smith episode got a
yeah, but that was because of music. That was because of music.
Yeah, that wasn't even music; it was dialogue.
No, that's a track on the soundtrack.
I know, but it was dialogue. It wasn't like a song.
It's still theirs.
I know. But anyways, just like, yeah, if you want to just like watch it real quick, and then and then we'll you can come back onto the stream or whatever. But I'll be honest, I did not like this trailer. This feels like pandering.
Yeah, I agree. The first trailer was a little better. I expected, I'm sure everyone did, Wakanda references, and they did it, and hopefully there's more. But I'm envisioning like them zooming in to the motherland with the Wakanda like fanfare playing, and then they like scratch the record. They're like, no, this isn't that movie, and then they go into something like that. So I would imagine the trailer was just garbage, and the movie is gonna be pretty good because I mean the trailer just seemed like pandering, like you're saying.
I don't know, man. I'm seeing a lot of nostalgia and a lot of let's go back and look, but then I'm also seeing a few things that are like they're kind of feeling like lazy writing to me. First of all, let's talk about Eddie Murphy was in, or the character was in New York for like a day before he met the girl that he winds up marrying. So like I was like, oh well, maybe it's one of these things where like the marriage didn't last and she wound up going back to New York. But no, they're still married. They're still happily married. They've got kids of their own. They're gonna throw in this thing where like apparently he had a son with like some other woman before like he met her. Like when did he like what when he got off the plane? Like he did. I remember that movie. They get off the plane. He decides to get rid of all their money. They wind up in like a shitty part of town, and like they get the job the next day, and he meets her. It's like when did he meet this woman and have sex with her and get her pregnant before he met her? Like,
break room, got him.
This guy's a man. I mean, he's got moves, right?
Yeah. Also, it's Leslie Jones is playing the kid's mom. And I've seen pictures of Leslie Jones when she was younger. And it doesn't seem to. I think this is actually Simmy's kid. This is gonna be Arsenio Hall's kid. I would totally buy it that Arsenio Hall's character hooked up with her and got her pregnant, but not that Eddie Murphy's character did.
I just saw the trailer while you guys were talking. I think it gets the job done. It's Coming to America was never some fucking amazing, crazy, fucking land-breaking fucking movie. It was funny as shit. It was just funny.
But it was also very competently written, and it had a story that was, there was a good, solid story. This feels like it has too many tropes. The long-lost son that he didn't know he had. The eldest daughter who wants to become queen, but because of some like weird rule in the country that says that like Zamunda can't be ruled by a woman.
Yeah, but that's just a conflict that they're just putting in. Like, how are you going to put conflict if he's bringing some poor guy from New York to his kingdom? There's no conflict. There has to be something. There it is. It's his sister. That's it.
I don't know. I probably would.
Whatever, bro. You know what sold me? Tracy Morgan. That's it. It's good. It's fucking. That guy is awesome.
He is the best.
So it's all good.
Look. I'm gonna watch this movie regardless. At the end of the day, it's fucking. I get to see Randy Johnson's Sexual Chocolate again.
Yeah.
Not Randy Johnson, Randy Watson. Randy Johnson was a pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. But
just let that sound glow.
Oh, wouldn't it be funny if they bring those people back?
Yeah, man.
And they still got Jerry curls?
That has to be in it.
I hope they.
Oh, well, not really. It's not the '80s anymore. Jerry curls.
They're broke now because nobody has Jerry curls anymore. But they still got it.
They still got it. Oh man. I mean, it gets the job done, in my opinion. It doesn't look. Yeah. It's better than the Ghostbusters trailer, the reboot for the Ghostbusters. So.
The 2016 or the one that's going to be coming out?
The 2016 one. Because
we've only gotten a teaser for the
yeah, because that was a legit reboot. Just like this feels like it's a reboot.
Yeah,
like a soft reboot.
I had high expectations for that 2016 Ghostbusters, and and maybe it's because my expectations were high that it let me down.
I liked it. I thought, Kristen Wiig and Kate McKinnon.
Yeah, the cast is an amazing cast. Like, you're heavy hitters of funny people. I don't know. I don't know. It was just there was something about it that I was just like, this feels like silly and cartoonish, whereas the original never had that.
Yeah.
What?
No, the original was played straight the whole way through. It was funny because it was absurd and there were like funny interactions among the characters.
I agree. That's the same reason why I like Blues Brothers. Blues Brothers is like straight it's like a legit story with like slapstick comedy like just sprinkled inside. It's ludicrous.
But none of the characters play up to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like nobody's hamming to the camera.
Well, except for Carrie Fisher.
Kate McKinnon.
I mean, she shoots a rocket at a telephone booth. They get launched into the sky and they come back down, and they're fine.
Yeah. Kate McKinnon was the one character that I think played it straight.
She was the best, man.
Yeah, no, she killed it. She was good.
But like Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, like they start like trying to like one up each other, like who can be crazier. And it's like, and then Leslie Jones just comes in and be like, how can I play stereotypically loudmouth woman? And it's like, why? Like what would have been so awesome?
She's really good at it, though. Give props,
but like they should have done like a little bit of like, let's switch some roles around. Like have Kristen Wiig play like the average New York woman, and then have like Leslie Jones and Melissa McCarthy.
That's why I brought it up, because it was a soft reboot.
Yeah,
they were just sticking to what the characters were supposed to be. That's all.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
Coming to America 2 looks fun. It doesn't look like it's gonna be groundbreaking or anything, but it looks like
it's not gonna be the amazing movie that the original was.
Right. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. Maybe
I don't know. I have a feeling this is just gonna be the sequel that shows up 35 years down the road that showed up like 30 years too late. But we'll see.
People love seeing their favorite characters from 30 years ago and what they've been doing this whole time. People love that shit.
Yeah. And there's Gianni saying, I love to acknowledge Wakanda.
Yeah. At this point, you have to, right? Because these Marvel movies have become a part of culture now. So, like, Wakanda forever.
I don't know where they were in the filming when Chadwick Boseman passed. But I could have totally seen if things had not gone the way that they went in real life, a Chadwick Boseman like cameo appearance in the movie playing T'Challa, like that would have been a fun thing for the fans.
That's messy. And now we're going to introduce Coming to America lore as canon in the MCU.
It would just be a cameo.
That's a little much.
He doesn't have to be from Wakanda. He doesn't have to be T'Challa. He could just show up like
what's that the McDougal's? McDowell's is canon in the MCU now, if that were to happen.
That would be hilarious. Except the problem with McDowell's is there's only one and it's in Queens.
Yeah. But still, who's from Queens? Isn't it Captain America?
Queens. The movie takes place in
Queens.
No,
Captain America, isn't he from
Oh, yeah, it's true. Captain America is from Queens.
So that would be a spot.
Oh, no, was it Captain America or Spider-Man?
No, Spider-Man is from Brooklyn. Wait. No, I think Spidey is Queens.
Yeah. Anyways, before we jump into the main course of the episode tonight, Pedro, your thoughts on the Resident Evil information that popped up?
Which one? There's a lot.
The giant 9-foot vampire woman that has set the internet on fire.
Bro.
Thank you, Gianni. Yes, Cap is from Brooklyn.
I'm just going to say, the internet is full. Well, thanks to COVID and 2020 and now going into 2021, people are pretty lonely and horny at home, bro. If they're fucking sexualizing a vampire like that, what we got,
9-foot tall vampire woman.
Yeah, but like what I'm trying to say is what we got in that trailer was absolutely nothing sexual. It's just like a 1940s looking woman. Yeah. And she's all dolled up. She's not like she has huge tits, but it's not like revealing anything. You know what I mean? And they sexualize the shit out of her. People are lonely, boys. They need to get out, bro.
I haven't seen the trailer, but I was gonna correct you because we've sexualized vampires forever.
No, right. But I'm saying about
blood.
what we got from the trailer specifically.
Yeah.
We don't even know if that's a vampire. They didn't even confirm it.
Yeah, they did. She's like apparently there's like there's now vampires in the Resident Evil universe. Apparently.
Oh, so they confirmed it's a vampire because they
That's
alluded to it, but they didn't.
Yeah,
just
I
like
don't
they
know.
allude to zombies, but they're not zombies.
Yeah.
You know. So.
All I know is the best comment I heard about it is like really seriously, like I would beat the shit out of you, except probably half of you would be into that. And that sums up these internet communities so well.
Bro, I love vampires. I think that's like my favorite shit. And like I'm so happy that they're adding vampires to it, but dude, hypersexualizing that, like even the one in the black is more like looks more sexual than the other one. The other one just looks dapper as fuck.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think that's what it is.
It's so weird. It's like, dude, you guys are focusing on the wrong one.
Yeah.
The other one looked dirty, bro. Oh, whatever. What are you gonna do?
Anybody got any other like quick little tidbits of news or whatever that dropped before we jump into WandaVision talk?
I heard about Armor Wars being super influenced by Tony Stark's death, which to me it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Also, Don Cheadle, I believe, basically confirmed that he's also going to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier for at least a cup of coffee.
Guys, we got our first bot.
Oh,
We're doing it. We're doing it. Twitch bots. We got one.
Should I show it?
No. Don't help them.
All right. All right. So let's without further ado, let's jump into our main topic of the evening, WandaVision. So we did not get a chance to talk episode 3 last week because we had on Savannah and.
Oh, before we get into this, I want to correct something. Someone brought this up after the last episode, where I said I don't like 80s things from the 80s. Let me clarify that. I don't like the 80s, the typical 80s thing that everyone understands that is the 80s, like loud, like crazy clothing. No. Because my friend told me, he's like, dude, what are you talking about? You love punk, and punk is 100% the 80s. But that's what I like from the 80s, like punk, metal. You know, when we get into like Scorpion and Cinderella and that kind of metal, no thanks. And like, you know, those pop groups, and no, I'm not into that. I just wanted to clarify that because I didn't think about punk, and that's legit my favorite shit.
Okay. Actually, now that you mention punk and metal and pop and all of that, if you have not yet had a chance, if you've not yet gone to our Facebook group page, there is a poll currently up. I have filled it with a listing of multiple songs from movies from the last 20 years. This week we are concentrating on the year span of 2000 to 2020. We want we want to do this year's March Madness tournament of songs from movies. It doesn't have to have been written specifically for the movie. It just has to be a song that was like featured prominently in the movie or in the ad campaign for the movie. Who the hell's trying to send me a fax at 9:00 at night?
Wait, no. Why do you have a fax? That's the question.
It's for other things.
I got it.
You know, for business purposes.
That's how he mines his Bitcoin. He just.
I want to answer to Mario right here. Toto's Africa is a good song, but it's not the best thing from the 80s because Rush produced moving pictures in 80s. So no, you're wrong.
Okay, so where was it? So yeah, so this year's March Madness tournament, we are doing music from movies. We want songs. We don't want musical scores. We want actual songs.
Ooh.
Songs that would have gotten radio play, and songs that are associated with the movie. As I was saying, it does not have to have been written for the movie. So, for example, one of the songs on the 2000 to 2020 list is Redbone's "Come and Get Your Love," which is an old song, but was very heavily featured in the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, and is part of that soundtrack, which was one of the best-selling soundtracks of the last 20 years.
We should add scores to it because
you're saying
right now what we're doing is we're only isolating popular movies like blockbusters.
Well, Pedro, we'll have other years with other tournaments.
The list is going to be real small because it's just going to be Purple Rain and fucking Blues Brothers, and that's it.
Are you kidding me?
I don't think so.
Purple Rain has the greatest soundtrack ever.
I'm thinking of saving the 80s and 90s, which we're doing as one bracket, like for last, because that's going to be like an overabundance of things that are going to go on there. I mean, shit, Space Jam alone has like 3 tracks that can go on that list. Anyways, if you go to our Facebook group, the poll is there. You can add options to the poll. If there's something that hasn't been added to it and you want to add it, you can do that. You can vote for as many things as you want. In fact, we encourage that because at the end of the day, the number of votes that something gets will determine its seating in the rankings. So if if there was a song on there and you didn't vote for it, and then you're upset because it got seated lower than you thought it should get seated, that's your fault for not voting on it.
Yeah, you suck.
Anyways, I know at least one guest that we're gonna have on for those episodes for the March Madness tournament. We might have maybe another. We're working on exactly the details of that. Producer Fungus should hopefully be back in time for those episodes. And just go ahead. I'm gonna be putting a new poll every week between now and March. So this week 2000 to 2020. Next week will probably be 1980 to 1999. The year, and then it will be 1960 to 1979, and then it'll be like 1930 through like 1959.
Those guys aren't getting anywhere.
They're not getting anywhere. There's going to be a couple of classics that'll have come out of that, but again, I feel like the 80s and 90s are going to be packed. Everyone's going to know the 2000s and 2010s. The 60s and 70s are a very good decade for music. So we should hopefully get some good music out of there too. And then obviously the other one has like 4 decades worth of movies that you can work with, that you can put things on there. So Mario says they're reaching out about my car's extended warranty. Yeah. That or they want to buy my house. Anyways, so definitely give us your input on that. I will have the brackets, hopefully will be ready to go the first week of March, if not the second. And definitely, like I said, voting will be open up until the time that the brackets are made. Once the brackets are made, I'm going to close the polls. You won't be able to vote on them anymore. And that'll be that. Anyways, so WandaVision, episode 3. Probably the episode where basically the record scratches. to borrow like if there was an episode with it would be this one.
Well, are you talking episode 3 or 4?
Episode 3.
Okay.
That's when you get that like proverbial like record scratch moment where like the movie freezes and we get the voiceover. You're probably wondering how I got to this point, Yeah. So episode 3, Wanda's pregnant. We're in color. It's the 1970s. And right off the bat, NPC neighbor's having a little problem in that his hedge trimmer, which is quite possibly the greatest hedge trimmer in all the world, is sawing through concrete bricks.
The craftsman, man. Sears should have never sold.
I mean, shit. If they would have been, well, if they're making things that are that good, no wonder they went out of business. That shit never needs to be replaced. So Pedro, I know you were very like on the fence with the first 2. In fact, you were on the fence on the other side of the fence, like I'm not liking the show. And I got a message from you after episode 3
Yeah.
That apparently you were intrigued.
It was. But then again, it goes back to my theory on Marvel Disney. They hype you up only at the end and never deliver it. It's just what they do. But
Episode
so
4.
I won't get into 4 yet. So 3, it was a lot of boring bullshit the entire episode. Like I don't give a flying fuck about none of that shit up until the end where she kicks that chick out of her bubble. Then I'm like, finally, the show started. This is great.
Sure.
But up until that point, that shit was just on autopilot. Nothing's happening. We're boring everybody out. That should have been the end. That episode 3 should have been the first episode. We didn't need the first 2 episodes.
They could have condensed the first 3, the first 2 really a lot, and then mix it with the third, and that could have been the first episode. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like, and I was actually telling this to Raul. We were speaking while playing some Overwatch, and I was telling him, it's like, dude, if you look at any successful like TV series, they never they always get you hooked on the first episode. This is and this is because, or my theory is that Disney has so much influence over people and so much loyalty that they can do whatever the fuck they want and you're still going to keep watching it. Even me, I fucking stuck around for 3 episodes and I hated it.
Well, that point is valid, I think, only with brand new content. When there is already a universe established, I think the producers have a little bit of leeway. They know that people are going to stick around because they're already invested in these characters from previous storylines. So stuff like Marvel that's already in trend, like 10 plus years worth of story points, they're going to know that people are going to stick around just a little bit longer. So they can take advantage of it.
That's what I'm saying. It's literally what I'm saying. But I don't think the episodes were good. I don't think they were well written. I think they were just like bullshit. They were bullshit episodes. And I'll give the example to Raul. Stranger Things. The very first episode of Stranger Things, you see the Upside Down, you see the fucking Demogorgon, whatever that creature was. You see everything you need to know to get you hooked for that show. And Wanda, you got nothing for the first 2 episodes. It's just nothingness, you know?
Okay. Well, but on that, so I have to agree with Raul on that. These are established characters that we know. They're counting on the fact that we're going to stick around.
But obviously, but
they're not. It's not. This is not a network.
Do you agree? Show. Do you agree that
not a brand new property where they're trying to like bring in new viewers? But as to the first 3 episodes, Gianni here, I think he nailed it right on the head. It's like there's a bunch of Easter eggs in all those episodes, all over the place, and then there's also Easter eggs in the dialogue too, which for the uninitiated, for the ones that don't know. Like, yeah, they probably didn't catch on to it. But
exactly,
for those
That's
of us,
my point.
But for those of us who have been with the MCU now for a decade, who have been watching, who have been seeing things, we catch on to those little things. They're building this thing, right? Because the first 3 episodes, it's all about like, what's going on? What's happening with Wanda? What is somebody doing this to her? Is she doing this to herself? What is the whole point of everything that's happening to it?
Right, but you guys are missing the point of what I'm saying. It's unnecessary. You could have done that with the first episode and still pulled in like viewers who've never seen it before. It's just about making quality. It's not quality because they're banking on the fact that you're going to watch it anyway.
I think
I will agree with that as well.
They take creative liberties because they could, because this is the first one on Disney Plus. They know that they can get away with a little bit. And I mean, they were cool episodes. I agree that they weren't like super groundbreaking, crazy things. They were interesting, but that's it. Like it really, out of context. If this was a brand new show, I would.
Yeah, if this was a brand new show, nobody would have stuck around past episode 1. Exactly. I think they knew that, and I think that's why, like, apparently for some viewers,
they got critics
3 episodes.
Critics got the first 3. Yeah. Critics got the first 3.
Now, I'm going to agree with Pedro on this one. Quality over quantity. I think they had 9 episodes to do, because I think that's how long the series is going to be, is 9 episodes. And they're like, well, we've got 9 episodes to tell this story. We've got time to do that. And then second, I think the showrunner I don't know if it's Kevin Feige who was in charge of this, or I'd have to go and take a look and see exactly who it is that's running the show. Just like I want to pay homage to all the TV shows that I grew up watching as a kid. So I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna do those homages. And audience be damned, and I'm gonna do what I want to do.
I mean, you could defend it however you like, but I'm always going to compare it to Stranger Things because the premise of it is very similar to Stranger Things, where you have a society that's living in a different, like an alternate society. You know what I mean? So you have the Shield agents outside this bubble trying to understand what's happening inside. In Stranger Things, you have Milwaukee, whatever city they're in, Indiana, whatever, and they're trying to figure out what's the fucking upside down. It's the same exact premise, and Stranger Things made you interested in knowing what the fuck is happening. You know what I mean? In the first two, we only stuck around, or at least me. I will speak only for me. Only reason why I stuck around is because there's a lot of hype and a lot of leaks and a lot of people talking about how this show is going to go crazy and it's going to be like what is it? Something of Madness, Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
So that's why I stuck around. But the show itself didn't do that for me. It's the hype that people created for the show. That's not the show. You know what I mean?
Right. Mario puts it right out there. It's no secret that this is the segue into Doctor Strange too.
Right, but that shouldn't justify a show. You know what I mean?
Just although apparently now, also a segue into Spider-Man 3, because they are apparently stating that this show takes place before the events of Spider-Man 2.
Right.
This is 3 weeks after the big fight. So, I mean, do you guys want to talk about theories on how, or do you want to wait?
Hold on, let me go back to my theory on Marvel Disney, because you guys just said it again. They keep making properties, movies, or now TV shows, where they're hyping you for the next thing, but they're never giving you quality in the thing you're watching. You know what I mean?
Early to say that, Pedro, for this.
For me, this is for me, because in all the movies, the most hype I would feel in any of the movies was at the very end when they're hyping me about another movie that's coming out. You know what I mean? This one is doing the same shit. Episode 3 hyped me up hard as fuck for episode 4, and then episode 4 happened, and the first fucking couple of minutes was dope as shit, and the rest was backtracking to try and explain what, everything happened. I understand that was cool. So what's going to happen next is probably going to be cool. And they're all hyping this up for Doctor Strange. You know what I mean? Like, I want the quality to be in the show itself. I don't want to be hyped for the next thing. I want to be hyped for this, what I'm watching.
You know? Well, I think Gianni brings up a good point. I think he's talking about, like, a lot of the bullshit stuff that's been going on. We're going to look back on it and be like, oh, shit, I missed that bullshit stuff because I didn't think it was important.
I mean, yeah, but that's anything. You can do that with anything. But like the cool thing, like again, Stranger Things. If you go back, you could see a bunch of like ties to the Upside Down in the very first episode. You know what I mean? You could do that for anything. But the quality of what you're watching at the moment doesn't hype you for that. Like I'm gonna keep on saying Stranger Things, because Stranger Things for me is amazing. Season 1, amazing fucking show.
I think you're gonna get what you wanted with this show, just like in the next.
Yeah. I'm hoping so, because at end of episode 3, episode 4, I'm not gonna say all of episode 4, but the beginning of episode 4 hyped me up. I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool,
I want to add, I think that they did a fantastic job with what they sought out to do with episode 1 and 2. So the thing that their goal was to do X with 1 and 2, and they nailed it.
What was it? The
period stuff.
The period stuff, right?
Yeah, they nailed it.
Oh yeah, no. Visually, it looks just like it.
Like okay. Let me just off the top of the dome. If you're obviously they want to do that, and I'm not saying don't do the first 2 episodes where you're seeing those time periods, but maybe at the end of episode 1, instead of only getting that last segment where you see like the TV, they're like, Wanda, what's happening? Give us a little bit more context of them talking about something like completely parallel. You know what I mean? Just give us an idea of what's happening outside. And then all of a sudden the viewer's like, oh shit, there's more to this than it seems. You know what I mean? Without having to look for leaks and people's breakdowns and people's theories. Just in the show itself, it's giving you, hey, there's more to this. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
All right. So wrapping up episode 3. So everything is typical 70s sitcom, and then all of a sudden we get a mention of Wanda mentioning that she was a twin.
Yeah. Or before that with Vision. Remember where she rewinded him?
Oh yeah.
She rewinded him because he brought up that everything's kind of weird.
Sense.
They weren't making sense. Yeah.
Something right here, Wanda.
Right, but she rewinds that moment, but then we get the big oh shit moment, which is when she remembers that she was a twin. And now here's the thing. I don't know if Monica, the entire time that she's in this bubble, if she's under the spell and she's actually thinks that she's this character of Geraldine.
No.
I think,
and that snaps her out of it.
No.
Or if the entire time she's been faking it and just pretending and going along with it.
That's where I'm at, because I think that she is an intruder in this world, and Wanda has control over everybody else, but not anybody else who's added to the scenario. So she was added to the scenario, and she's just like, oh shit, I gotta adapt, I gotta figure something out. So she started playing along with it. That's what I think.
I think what happened, and this happened in the dinner scene in the first episode, in the second episode, when that lady broke the glass and stuff. But anytime, if you watch those scenes, anytime Wanda somewhat strays concentration, loses focus, and this example in particular is when she's talking about her brother and the death, and that's very emotional for her. Anytime she loses focus, the people around her start realizing what's going on and kind of start pushing back.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's true. I didn't catch that. Yeah, you're right.
And that was my theory, is she gets sucked into the bubble, and as soon as she goes into the bubble, spell affects her. She's Geraldine, right? But then when Wanda starts talking about Pietro, then all of a sudden she starts remembering. Yeah, there you go. So Mario's, I guess he's of a similar mindset. Yeah, so I think that's what happens. And then, of course, when Wanda realizes that, wait, how does this person know about Ultron and all of that, is when she realizes, and then she sees the little sword emblem on her chain, and that's when she realized, this person's not supposed to be here. And then
on the guy's back too, the beehive guy, which we can talk about a little later because that is explained in episode 4.
Right.
Everything is explained in episode 4. That's what made episode 4 good.
Yeah.
Not a lot of shit is happening because you're just rewatching shit you already seen, but they're explaining why.
But it's building what's been going on.
Exactly.
That we haven't been privy to.
The cool part is the beginning. The beginning, woo, that was cool.
Yeah. So Monica gets kicked out, and we get that nice it goes from the full screen 4:3 format to the widescreen format.
Because now we're snapping out of it. We're coming to the fantasy world.
I think it's a good choice of song in the Monkees' Daydream Believer. Because it's she's coming out of a daydream, she's what's going on? And that's when we find out oh, Sword is outside the city. I don't know. I think that's a bit of a stretch. A lot of people are talking about how they think this is going to set up the Fantastic Four, and I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think I don't disagree with maybe the Sword can be kind of an in for the Fantastic Four, but I don't think this series is going to set up the Fantastic Four.
So do you guys think there's any involvement with Hydra in this thing? Because I still do.
No. I think this is the commercial, and we can talk about that in episode 4 stuff, but I think the commercials are just our subconscious.
Well, so episode 4, we don't get a commercial. Episode 3, we get the Hydra Wash commercial, or the soap commercial for Hydra soap or whatever.
See it from the outside perspective, it's still coming out on the TV.
We're seeing the same commercials we've already seen.
Right.
I'm still liking the theory that the commercials represent traumatic events in Wanda's life.
I think I like that idea. It's subconscious. She's trying to figure it out. Not.
Well, we've got the toaster that makes the same noise that the Stark missile makes before it blows up, right? And we get that speech where like we were in our home and the missile landed, but it didn't. It was a dud. It didn't blow up. Then we've got the Strucker timepiece, and Strucker is the person that gave them their powers by exposing them to the stone. The third one, Hydra Soak. I'm guessing because they were in a Hydra facility. Because the Hydra's influence is Wanda remembering her past and her and Pietro being cared for them by them. Yeah, that could be very well it.
I hope not, man. I really like the idea that fucking that Hydra is like behind this shit.
I don't think so. Dude, if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., well, I guess that may not be super canon.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., especially with like the last 2 seasons where they did like a time jump and stuff like that, it may not exactly be.
You know why I want Hydra in any of these movies? Because Hydra made the greatest fucking Marvel movie, man. It's the only one that Hydra was like the focal point in the entire movie, and it was amazing. I want that. I just want that back.
I mean, technically, you could say Hydra was the bad guy in like several movies.
Well, the main Winter Soldier.
No, they're the Winter Soldier is
they're the main bad influence in Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
but they're also the bad guys in Captain America: The First Avenger. Because the Red Skull's the leader of Hydra in that movie.
Arguably, Nazis were probably the.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I think they're worse. I think they're a little worse.
Well, there's.
But yeah, so I just kind of want. I like that conspiracy shit from Winter Soldier. It was like the most.
Mario says it's going to be AIM.
Oh, okay.
Which we got a brief introduction to AIM in Iron Man 3, but it wasn't the AIM that we kind of know.
I think there's 2 things we haven't mentioned. You mentioned the Sears appliance, cutting through the wall.
Yeah.
I think that may be like a metaphor for them trying to get out.
I think it's just a glitch.
I think
it happened. It happened the same time when she was dealing with the kids inside. And I'm using your theory on this because that was a good theory. When she was losing concentration with the kids inside the house, that's when he was like malfunctioning and cutting through the thing, like she wasn't controlling him to do normal shit anymore.
Yeah,
it's a good theory. I think I'm on that boat too.
I think it's good. The other oh shit moment was, how about Vision walking inside
dead?
And
that's episode 4.
No. Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I think it is.
That's episode.
I think that's the conclusion at the very end. Remember, episode 3 and 4 are the same episode, pretty much, because it's all happening kind of at the same time, and then it concludes episode 3 in 4. So, like the very end.
Let's get into episode 4.
Yeah.
So episode 4 starts off right off the bat. We're post snap. This is post Hulk snap.
Crazy.
Yeah, which I don't like. I don't like the name they're using of the blip.
What is it?
That's what they're calling it, the blip.
Oh, whatever.
And I'm like, I'm not a fan of that name. I don't know if they called it that in Spider-Man 2 also.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
Post blip or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels weird.
Regular people wouldn't have known it was a snap.
True.
We do because we saw
it, but
but no one else.
But I mean, just the fact that she wakes up, she's like, where's my mother? Obviously, there's a lot of like shit going on because all of a sudden people are just appearing in this hospital who haven't been there for 5 years and all that. We find out that like her mom died from cancer, and she's like, "But you told me the surgery was good," and she's like, "Yeah, but the surgery came back 3 years after you disappeared." So the whole thing of like the fact that they've been gone for 5 years, they missed a lot. From there, she reports to work, and she's been like basically she's being kept like ground level, like they're not giving her, because her mom was like, "Hey, if these people ever come back, and I think that they're gonna come back, we can't just let them like get back to their lives like normal. We need to like monitor them and make sure that like everything's all right with them before we let them get back to doing what they were normally doing and all of that.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So, just the very beginning, we had an idea in Endgame that, they came back. Oh, Doctor Strange, when Spider-Man was talking to Tony, Doctor Strange did the little swirly thing, and then we came back, and then he's like, oh, they need us, and that was it, really. Like, we knew they recompiled, they came back. But to actually, not only is this beginning a tie-in to the rest of what we've already seen, but we have not really grasped until now what it was like to be one of those people coming back. And this did a very good job of showing, first of all, her perception. Man, what do you mean it's been 5 years? I couldn't have been sleeping more than 20 minutes. So to these people, they were just like taking a nap.
It was instantaneous.
Right.
And they talk about it a little bit in Spider-Man.
Right.
Obviously, we've got that whole situation with like the kid that was like 5 years younger than them when they all disappeared. Right. And all of a sudden they come back and he's the same age that they are and all of that.
Still, that's more, it's more from the other side. Like, okay, these people obviously aged 5 years, but we don't truly know what they experience in the snap,
Right. Well, because apparently they didn't experience anything. They didn't even know it happened.
And now imagine, so this lady, she's now all of a sudden snaps back into reality. 5 years have gone by. That one guy passing her, the doctor, he's like, oh, I need to call my wife. I don't know if he was re-snapped or maybe he's realizing that people are coming back and he wants to see if she's okay. But people have moved on with their lives. People have probably, they probably.
That somewhere there's some guy that like he disappeared and all of a sudden he comes back and like his wife like has gotten remarried.
It could be. Maybe. Imagine that. Imagine maybe the wife was pregnant. And now the only father that the kid knows is the other person because, the original guy snapped away.
What if I was going to say, what if there was like a baby that got snapped away while this person was pregnant and then like all of a sudden like 5 years later just reappears back in the womb.
Oh man, that'd be insane. So wait, do you think they have to pay child support if they come back, like for the 5 years that they were gone? Like there's stuff that.
Well, no, I think the court would make exceptions in those cases.
Yeah.
well, obviously you were gone for 5 years, and we all thought you were dead. So
right.
How many people
you were dead?
Resurrect? like all these people that the government had declared dead, like now, like all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to bring all these people back to life.
All that life insurance paid out? Do they have to pay it back? Like, how does that work?
Pretty sure Act of God may not be covered on everyone's policy.
Well, is Thanos Act of God?
That was always there was a comic book. I don't know if it was a mini series or if it was just like a not a very long lasting series. Pedro, you might remember the name on it, but it was all about like the people that do the cleanup after like the superhero fights and all of that.
Yeah.
And like it delves into.
Yeah,
I forgot the name.
The cleanup crew. That's what it was.
But like it delves into like the insurances that the buildings have to have. Like there's an entire interesting world in a world of superheroes that like we don't, which I think would make a great like half-hour sitcom.
Well,
just the absurdity.
They touched on it with Michael Keaton's character in.
Yeah, they touched on it a little bit with that. But it'd be just funny, like give me like a half-hour office comedy that takes place in the MCU. It's like
up, and then like Thor comes in, or
randomly a body comes crashing through a window or something like that.
I just got the blood off these carpets.
But yeah, like it's one of those things. I know they tried to do a little bit some of that. DC tried to do some of that on I think I don't remember if it was like Fox or something like that. It was a show with like Vanessa Hudgens and Ron Funches and all that. Lasted like 3 episodes before they pulled the plug.
Don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
They apparently there were people working in like a science lab or something like that, and like inventing all kinds of crazy shit, and then of course dealing with like supervillains and superheroes. But of course, like DC didn't want to give them like any like actual like real superheroes to use on the show, so like nobody cared. Anyway, so episode 4. So we get Monica. She comes back. She goes to the sword facility. They ask her to go to New Jersey because the FBI is having an issue and they want Sword to help them investigate it. And she's like, "Well, like, what the fuck is going on in New Jersey that they want us?" Like, and all of a sudden, it's Agent Jimmy Woo of the Ant-Man movies, the Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I love Randall Park. I think he's a great actor, and he's got great comedic timing. There was a thing on Twitter this week that was like, somebody give Randall Park a show where like Agent Woo has to go through like X-Files type cases in the Marvel universe, but like it'd be like a half an hour comedy instead of like a 1 hour drama.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. I would totally watch that. So I fully support that idea. And he gets there and he's like, yeah, so I've got like apparently one of the residents of Westview is like in witness protection, and he was coming to like get him for something, and we take time to appreciate that he nailed the card. He did nail the card trick.
Nailed it.
He finally learned it, you know?
Yeah.
So we get Agent Woo, and he's like, yeah, so the weird thing, and then he's like, officers, you know, what can you tell us about Westview? And he's like, there's no such town as Westview. Meanwhile, they're standing right outside of Westview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a nice little. So that's when and Monica's like, huh, well, let's send in the drone. And then of course the drone gets sucked in, and then she goes in, and that's when like the entire division of Sword shows up.
What I found interesting was Agent Woo said he was telling her, you feel that how like it doesn't want us to go in, but she had the opposite reaction. It's almost like she was drawn into it because this person is in theory a trained agent of Sword who's seen a bunch of crazy shit, yet she's touching you know, it doesn't make any sense for the character, you know.
I just think that Agent Woo has a higher survival instinct. You know, like this is what gets people into a lot of trouble sometimes. They get that gut feeling, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't do this. And there are people who follow that gut feeling, and there are people who go, no, I'm going to ignore that gut feeling. Well, Agent Woo has that gut feeling about this place, and he's like, I'm not going near that thing. And good on him, because he's probably going to survive with no problems. You know? He's not going in to face the Scarlet Witch one-on-one with no powers. Whereas Monica Rambeau doesn't have that, and, you know, we see what happens to her. She gets...
I'm forgetting who her mom was. Was her mom Captain Marvel's Biff?
Yeah. Her mom, okay. She's the little girl in the Captain Marvel movie.
Gotcha. Okay.
Whatever. In fact, they mention it when she's coming back.
Lieutenant Trouble?
Yeah. Like, or Sergeant Trouble, Lieutenant Trouble, whatever. Captain Marvel called her that as a like.
Yeah. That was her nickname that like her aunt Aunt Carol gave her.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we get to see apparently after the events of the Captain Marvel movie, that's when they start working on Sword. And obviously Maria, who's her mom, becomes one of the founders and like the director of Sword. Obviously probably working very closely with Nick Fury. So it's, I mean, I don't know, it's interesting. We get Kat Dennings comes back playing Darcy from Thor, and was she in Thor: The Dark World?
I think she was.
She's in the Thor franchise. She's in all of those movies.
She's in
but she's playing, you know, Darcy, the who's an astrophysicist.
Is it just me, or I feel like she is the best actor on that show.
Well,
I
Kat
think
Dennings is a very good actress.
I think it's just because she has so much experience with sitcoms. But she nails all the jokes. All the jokes are funny.
Well, first of all, she's a great comedic actress.
Yeah.
So she's got the timing. But Randall Park is also like an experienced sitcom actor as well. Randall Park was on the show Fresh Off the Boat, which was on for a while. And he's got he's obviously he's got a comedy background and all of that.
I don't think he was as good as her.
They play with each other very well.
No, that dynamic was the best part of that episode for me. It was so funny.
In fact, it should be the two of them on the show. That's like she could be the Scully to his Mulder,
That one comment that she made. I don't know why I got a good laugh out of it. Was when she was watching the show and I think Wanda gets pregnant and she goes. And then everyone looks at her and she's like, "Oh, I'm invested." I was like, she's just like enjoying the show now, But I thought that was like,
she's just like kicking back watching.
I almost feel like that might have been improv because it was like so fucking organic when she did it. She's like, "What? I'm in." I don't know. For some reason, that stood out for me.
It's very possible.
And the coffee comment. It's like,
can I finally get that cup of coffee?
Yeah, when she finished it, she's like, "But can I finally get that cup?" No, okay. And she just went. I was like, "Damn, that's pretty good."
The only thing that would have been better is if, like, in the next scene, like Agent Wu would have brought her a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
that would have been. So we get finally, like, in the final minutes of this, we get to see, like, they set up the radio thing, and when the radio pops up on the screen, it's Agent Wu that somebody had said it before in, like, the last episode or whatever, like, oh, that's Agent Wu that's calling her through the thing. And we get to see it in this one. It was Agent Wu who was like trying to communicate with her.
Man, I'm sorry. Most of these people who are figuring these little things out,
reading it online.
I don't believe that they're actually catching that themselves. Someone leaked it from the show, and they're just copying and pasting what they're saying. Because that is so hard to fucking distinguish. Because there's a filter over the fucking sound because it's supposed to be an old timey radio. There's like buzzing happening because the Wanda is like focusing in on it, and there's like this sound in the background. For you to distinctly figure out that's Wu, I'm like, man, someone told you, bro, because that is not,
Well, we knew he was gonna be on the show, and it sounded like him, so it kind of like made sense to think.
It could very easily have been the director of Sword.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been anybody, but him specifically. For those people, I'm like, yeah, you read that shit somewhere. You didn't catch that. I don't believe you caught that.
Yeah. We also get we're gonna send in an agent through the sewers.
I like that transition when they go through the bubble. They transform into that. But see, this goes back to my theory where the people who are infiltrating aren't under her spell. They're just adapting because everybody who infiltrated adapted. Have you noticed that? Like the B guy, he wasn't under a trap. Like she snapped him out of existence when she said no, and he just disappeared. But they went in with the same motive to figure out what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, no, I think Rambo went in there and she knew what was happening. She had to adapt. She knew something bigger was at play.
We'll find. I'm sure we'll find out in the next episode.
Oh, we definitely will.
Because now that she's been in and gotten kicked out, Mars says we got to see Wanda carrying Vision around like a puppet, like Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, it's so morbid if you think about it. Well,
yeah, but we'll see because obviously now Monica has been in and has gotten kicked out. So I'm sure that she'll be telling them what she learned while she was in there. Obviously, she wakes up and she says, "It's all Wanda."
And by the way, I caught one. I don't know if this was a fuck up. I think it was a fuck up. When Monica, when the beekeeper went in, he was in like a hazmat suit, and then he turned into a beekeeper. So I'm assuming Wanda went in with her regular clothes and got transformed into 1940s clothing. But when she got spit out, she was still wearing 1940s clothing.
So it Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, no, she was wearing the 70s clothing. You're talking about Geraldine, right?
Yeah. Still, regardless, she didn't transform into modern
Although the
clothing. She was
beekeeper
still
outfit
wearing.
still looks like a hazmat suit.
I think they're doing that on purpose because they're trying to show you that things that occur can come outside. So, for example, the jump rope, the rope that they have that beekeeper, or well, the guy that turned into the beekeeper, it turns into a jump rope.
Right. Okay, so that was intentional, you think? Yeah, because it turned into a jump rope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the only thing I caught. I'm like, wait a minute.
Also, the drone turns into like a toy helicopter.
Right, but we didn't see that come back out.
That's true.
Right.
We only saw Monica, and I forgot about the jump rope. The jump rope did come back out as a jump rope. It wasn't like a severed rope.
I think they're either trying to set up maybe Wiccan and Speed being able to survive outside of this area, or maybe
That's very possible
outside of this area. Because I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Vision or the kids, right? Like, what the hell's going to happen? I mean, these kids. This guy's a fucking dead robot. Like, how's he getting her pregnant? Like, what is with these kids?
Yeah.
I still think it's along the line of this is what she hoped would have happened, and she's living her fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Right, but I'm talking more like, how are these things going to survive outside this bubble, or is the bubble going to expand to the point? Because I think they talked about the bubble is whatever amount of miles around for now, almost implying like it's expanding, but I don't think they went into that too much. They did accent that it's a hexagon shape, which I don't know why they would do that unless.
Well, like when you go into the sword like room where they got like the chalkboards, that's one of the questions, like why a hexagon? And it's like a lot of the questions that are on that board are like the same questions that like we're asking as viewers.
Right.
We'll see. But yeah, as far as episodes go, it's getting better. Still don't think it's great. There are great moments. I'm just hoping some fucking. I have a feeling it's gonna, because the second trailer you see a lot of action and a lot of like crazy shit happening. So I'm pretty sure and we're already halfway through, right? Episode 4. There's only 8.
Mm-hmm. I think there's
9. So the
9.
next 4. There's 9. Okay, so the next 5 episodes are probably going to be intense.
I guess Mario here, piggybacking off your Wiccan and Speed comment, is talking about starting a Young Avengers. Well, we know that the Hawkeye series, he's going to be training Kate Bishop.
That's true.
Then he says, or it could be Mephisto.
Mephisto involved, because they keep Agnes keeps talking about her
husband who's a devil
and whatever, and we just haven't seen him yet, so it could be, I guess.
I'm gonna stick to my guns. I still think it's Hydra behind this shit.
And then he says here, like the bubble can go
smells like Hydra
and become House of M.
Right,
House of M. If they do House of M without X-Men, is going to be trash.
No.
I'm going to straight up say it.
Could be. I mentioned this a few episodes ago. It could be reverse House of M, where they just give everyone, not everyone, powers, but mutants all of a sudden become a thing.
So
okay,
there's apparently been a little bit of some beans getting spilled. So if you don't want spoilers, this is your time to stop listening.
We have a disclaimer in the beginning.
But this is and this is also going to be mostly speculation, because the only thing that we know is somebody asked Elizabeth Olsen, will there be a cameo in this series like there was in Mandalorian season 2? And she said yes, there's going to be a big cameo that's going to occur in the series.
I'm going to guess Doctor Strange. It has to be.
Then the other thing is, in an interview with Paul Bettany, he talks about he got to work with someone that he's always wanted to work with, and that he was super happy to be working with that person. Obviously, I don't think it's Doctor Strange, because even if they didn't really have any scenes together, they kind of worked together already on Avengers Infinity War. And the way that he was talking about this person makes me feel like it's a person of high reverence in the UK.
Were they in any scenes together in Infinity War?
I don't think they were in any scenes together, but it was still kind of like.
So what you think? Prof X is coming in?
I'm thinking.
No.
I mean, it could be one of two people. It could be Patrick Stewart, or it could be Ian McKellen.
It's not.
Who are both, giants in the UK acting scene.
Patrick Stewart said he's not going to do it because he was approached by Kevin Feige, and
he said he said goodbye to Professor X and Logan.
Yeah, he said if it wasn't for Logan, he'd think about it.
But apparently, he said that he doesn't want to return to a full-time role. But this would not be a full-time role. This would be a quick role that would be maybe a couple days of filming and that's it.
If Patrick Stewart is in this show, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
You're going to get excited and you're going to clap and you're going to be happy. That's about it.
I'm going to cry.
Now, we already saw, obviously, in Spider-Man 2 that they brought in J.K. Simmons to reprise J. Jonah Jameson. While I am not opposed to bringing in Patrick Stewart to reprise the role of Charles Xavier, I am not a fan of bringing the entire Fox franchise.
I think Ian McKellen would make more sense because Magneto is...
would also make a lot of sense. But also at that point, why not bring in Michael Fassbender?
Right. Is he British? I feel like he's British.
He's either British or German.
Oh.
But he's definitely European.
Yeah.
But I definitely like the idea of... or he might be Scandinavian. Fassbender.
But
again, this is one of those things where...
Rogue is the best thing that ever happened to Captain Marvel. Fucking cool.
I mean, if we're talking about relevancy, but I am not. I'm not a huge fan of the Fox X-Men franchise. I think they've been so hit or miss with those movies.
I like them, man. I like them for what they are, man. I think the individual actors. I just think the plots for a lot of those movies are they're not really interesting, bro. The First Class was awesome.
But that's what I said. They're hit or miss.
Days of Future. The last ones were all good. Days of Future Past was dope. Apocalypse wasn't not that good, but the one before, after First Class,
Dark Phoenix.
Was that Dark Phoenix?
That was the most recent one. Was Dark Phoenix?
No. The one after First Class was that Days of Future Past? Okay, so those were the good ones, and then the last two weren't that good.
Yeah,
but I thought
that's what I said. They've been very hit or miss. When those movies hit, they hit really well, and when those movies miss, they fucking.
No, but bomb. You could say that about fucking Marvel too, man. Marvel, all the Marvel movies are good.
I think Marvel's got a better batting average.
I don't think so.
They may not all be home runs, but they're at least getting on base.
No, the only one that was just horrible from the Fox was Apocalypse. That one was horrible. Phoenix wasn't. It was pretty bad. that was pretty bad. But like the older ones, I thought the older ones were really good.
The trilogy with like
besides 3, 1 and 2 were really good, and then 3 was the Spider-Man 3 of the X-Men franchise, where they were just trying to make a movie just to make a movie. So that one sucked. But the first 2 were great, and then the reboot or whatever, the new one, the First Class cast of characters, those were really good too.
I
like them, man.
I'm looking forward to what's coming next.
Yeah. Or hopefully, the only thing that would make me happy if they recast some of these people is we'll finally get a comic accurate, or hopefully we'll get a comic accurate Wolverine, because that guy was way too good looking, and he's tall, so that's just doesn't make any goddamn sense. Wolverine is supposed to be some ugly ass fucking bridge troll, but whatever.
I just really want a multiverse encounter between Captain America and the Human Torch, and it's like the same. I really want that.
That would be cool.
I
just want Dr. Doom and the X-Men, bro. That's the best thing Marvel has ever made. All these Avengers are shit.
Hopefully, with Kevin Feige in charge, we're gonna get a proper Dr. Doom and the Fantastic Four.
X-Men. If X-Men was a show, it should be a teen drama with fucking action in it. because that's what X-Men was, bro. That shit was fucking cool as hell. There was a lot of relationships being like, triangles just fucking all over the place. That shit was dope.
I don't see them doing the proper X-Men team as a TV show when they can make bank with movies.
Well, obviously you can still make movies and TV shows, bro. Have you never seen Entourage? You can make movies, bro. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Doom, the greatest villain.
I'm not saying I'm opposed to that being a TV show. I'm saying I don't really see it happen.
I think as majority of X-Men, if that was literally the only comic series I read from superhero comics when I was a kid, and that shit was all teen drama, and then at the end of like a storyline there will be like a huge fight. So it would be awesome if they made like season 1 of X-Men and it's like teen drama, and then when the fight happens or like the big conflict, that's the movie. That's what
but the CW is owned by Warner Brothers, so you're not gonna get that show.
Have you guys seen that's funny, by the way.
That's a good
X-Men 2011 anime?
It's on my queue, but I haven't actually watched it yet.
No. Watch the first 2 minutes, Pedro. I mean, you have to like it. I mean, you have to like it. It's an insane 2 minutes.
It's an anime X-Men, Pedro.
But it's
sold.
Crazy. I didn't even know it existed. I saw it on Netflix. I'm like, I'll check it out. I watched the first 2 minutes, and I haven't gone back to watch it, but it's really good.
That's a real good endorsement. I watched the first 2 minutes, and I haven't gone back to watch it.
I can vouch for. The rest of it, I don't know, but the first 2 minutes are worth the watch.
Yeah. Sold, bro. The Japanese X-Men cartoon intro is like the best thing X-Men has ever. Have you seen that shit?
I think that's what this is.
To the show, yeah.
Oh, the intro?
No. It's
no. I'm talking about the '90s show.
And then
the '90s show had an American version and a Japanese version. The Japanese version was animated by Japanese animators, and that shit is hype. And then the American one is fucking lame as balls, bro. It's real bad.
But also very much a pop culture icon.
Yes.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the animation for it. It's really bad. But that Japanese intro is hype. If you haven't done it, check it out. You'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. I wish we could just pull shit up on the Waddy.
I know, but I don't. Like I said, copyright. And we don't have any clout, so it's not like we can really. Anyways, so definitely we're looking forward to episode 5. It'll be dropping day after tomorrow. Raul will be in contact for a watch party. Right now, I don't have any plans for Friday night, so those are my plans.
Before we stop talking about the episode, because there's so much in this episode, but we have to talk about that oh shit moment with Vision.
So that's the end of the episode, I believe. That's after Monica says it's all Wanda, and then we cut back to Wanda in the show. She's repaired the hole in the wall that she just created, and Vision walks in, like, is everything all right? And then all of a sudden she looks at him, and it's the dead, lifeless corpse of Vision with the hole in his head.
Oh God!
By the way, I've missed opportunity, in my opinion, to use that force push. They should have got more creative with their power. They should have turned her into a dart or something fucking weird, just to add some more weirdness to the show. That was just a force push. I wanted to maybe just disintegrate her and teleport her somewhere else. Let's see some Wanda doing some fucking Wanda shit, bro. That's what I wanted. You know what I mean? I want to see some Doctor Strange shit. I want to see some crazy shit.
I do have a question. How did she get to this town? I know it's in New Jersey.
I think we're gonna find that out in the next few episodes.
Yeah, so what are your theories? Because
weren't they in New York when all this shit happened?
No. They were in the Avengers facility, right? Like, she got snapped back.
She got brought to the Avengers facility. She got the final battle.
She disappeared with the snap.
Yeah.
Well, we have she's one of the ones that disappeared with the snap, and then she was brought back. We have the funeral for Tony Stark. That we see her, and then she's leaving from there. I didn't catch that. Monica went through 4 walls before leaving.
It's true.
Literally breaking the 4th wall.
Yep.
There you go. But I like. So I'm of the theory. I'm still liking this theory that the person that this Agnes person is Agatha Harkness.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and this is gonna be my theory. I haven't ran this by anyone. Wanda goes to her, maybe to help her with like psychologically, right?
Coping.
Right. And maybe Agatha Harkness maybe like puts her into some sort of, because we keep getting this like image of like Wanda like waking up in like what looks like a chamber or something.
What?
I don't see that at all.
If you look at the trailer for like the second half of the season,
yeah,
there's a scene where like Wanda looks like she's like in a pod or something, and all of a sudden like she wakes up.
You're right. See, but that's where my whole Hydra thing comes into play. That's the only reason why Hydra is in my mind, is because of the second trailer with all that weird shit that's happening.
I don't want to jump all the way to Hydra. I want to say that like she went to Agatha for help, and maybe Agatha is like gonna put her into like a hypnotic trance or something to maybe help her with the.
Yeah, because it's very clear that she knows what's happening. I even when she was talking to the dude cutting the wall, like they both, like he was about to spill the beans. She's like, no, like they know what's happening. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like they're manipulating Wanda, even though I like Raul's theory more.
Okay, yeah, that agree with that. But I'm gonna go with the theory of like she went to her for help, and whether her help is being used like for her own purposes or whether she's legitimately trying to help Wanda. I think whatever she did to try to help her go through the mourning and the grieving, I think is creating all of this.
Vision did have super speed, man. Didn't he? I didn't remember him using that shit when they were like levitating that city to save somebody.
Might be thinking of Quicksilver.
Might be, yes. I forgot he was in that movie. You're right, and he died from bullets. Which why? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, because he died saving someone, and while he was able to save the person that he was protecting, he failed to protect himself.
We saw another Quicksilver do this to the bullet. I'm just saying.
That's true. But apparently, this Quicksilver was not as powerful as that Quicksilver.
Yeah, he's also plot hole.
Apparently,
well, it could be. He got his powers way later than that Quicksilver, and he just didn't have the time to develop it.
It could be the writers trying to find a way to get rid of somebody who shouldn't die.
I think that was one of the things. Was like there was a whole issue with Quicksilver and with Fox owning the rights back then.
Right.
But also, I think like the people that wrote the X-Men movies thought Quicksilver was the Flash.
Quicksilver is the Flash.
No, the Flash is much, much faster.
Isn't Quicksilver literally the Marvel equivalent of the Flash? I thought that's what they designed him to be.
Not really.
I'd say kind of.
He's a speedster.
There's no Speed Force like that.
There's no Speed Force in the Marvel universe. I mean, the Flash is literally faster than light. Like the Flash can travel so fast, he can travel through time.
Right, but isn't that
Quicksilver has never shown that level of power.
Right. They didn't do the time traveling thing, but like essentially they have the same superpower where they're just super fast.
Well, I'm gonna stick to my theory of maybe they got their powers really late, and that would explain why Wanda never had any of these like warping powers until now, because now they're developing.
I think it's a contract issue, and they couldn't use Scarlet Witch in any shape or form.
Right, that's a practical.
Yeah, and they were trying to like, oh, she could do this, and never explain what it is. But now that they have the rights, they're doing some crazy shit with it because now they can.
Yeah,
I mean that could be it as well.
That's what makes more sense in my head.
It's a weird ground because it's like, well, X-Men was like, well, they're mutants, so we own them. But then Marvel's like, yeah, but they were introduced in the Avengers, so like we own them. And it's like weird licensing.
Well, that's why they're not considered mutants, which is so sad. They had to be, but they're not.
X-Men was my favorite, man.
X-Men is the best thing Marvel has ever produced. That's the reason why they have such a following. It's like the best thing, man. Like that X-Men and Spidey. It's the best thing. Like it's
Anyways,
hands down fucking the best.
I think we're gonna wrap things up here. Um, again, if you're just tuning in now, just go to the Facebook group page and participate in the poll.
Hold up. Mario says Scarlet Witch isn't a mutant.
No, well, not in the.
I mean, she's probably been retconned.
Not in the movie.
Not in the movie, no, but like she's absolutely a mutant.
She's Magneto's daughter.
Look, it's comic books. They keep retconning shit.
No,
they just retconned it so Franklin Richards was not a mutant.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, in like one of the current storylines or whatever, Franklin used up so much of his power that like he's powerless right now. And like when they scanned him, they're like, "You don't have an X gene," and they explained it as apparently, because of his powers, since he wanted to be a mutant, he manifested an X gene like for the testing of the scans, and now he can no longer come back to like Genosha or wherever the mutants are.
Oh, okay. I understand what Mario's saying. Scarlet Witch is a mutant. What you're saying is Wanda isn't a mutant because they haven't even referred to her as Scarlet Witch in the MCU yet because that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Actually, come to think about it, yeah, like
she's not the Scarlet Witch. She's Wanda.
And nobody's referred to her by that name. Nobody's given her a code name.
Exactly.
I feel like they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm just.
No, I've never heard it.
I'd have to go back.
If anything, maybe they called her the Witch or something.
I feel like
definitely
if
not
somebody
Scarlet
called her the Scarlet Witch, I think we would remember that.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever called her that, and I think that's all because of a licensing thing with X-Men because that's their character, and that's how the loophole was. They also they never called Pietro Quicksilver. He was just.
No. Yeah. Anyways, that's gonna wrap us up for tonight. Again, if you haven't done so yet, please participate in the polls. I will put up the next poll next week. Pedro, buddy, I know you know music. If you can think of anything that's not on that list, add it to the list.
2000s, trash.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm waiting for 70s and 80s. I'm gonna bomb that shit with Rocky Horror, Blue Brothers, so much shit from the 70s and the 80s.
There's got to be a movie in the last 20 years that you like that had like a good song in
it. No, I can't think of one. At least I can't think of one that I'm like. Oh wait, no. Fuck, what's that shit? Moana, the
Shiny.
That's a dope.
We beat you to it. He put it on the list already.
That's what's up. That's my boy. He knows what's up.
But at least go in there and vote on the list.
Michael Jackson, this is it. There's a lot of good Michael Jackson songs in there.
Was that? I forgot that was even within the last 20 years.
Damn, if that's the case, then Rocket Man also came out. Bohemian Rhapsody also came out.
Yeah.
All bangers, bro.
All bangers.
Oh, Black Panther soundtrack. This is a hot take. This is a hot take. I didn't like that soundtrack.
I added the song, the one that was all over the commercials for Black Panther, the one that's The Weeknd and Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, Spider-Man, Sunflower. That's a dope ass song. If that's not on there, I'll put it.
When you say Spider-Man, I think of
Spider-Verse.
Hero from was it Chad Kroger and Saliva or something like that?
I don't know, man. I don't know what you're talking about, little kid.
Anyways, again, so please go participate in the poll. Help us with the rankings. Your votes will determine the rank order of the songs and the matchups that they will go into. Next week, I will be posting the poll for 80s and 90s, so on and so forth, until we have all 4 brackets. And we will be doing that from March. Kendrick Lamar greater than Post Malone? I don't disagree with that.
Not if we're talking about movies. I think Sunflower is better than every song in the Black Panther movie.
Oh, I just thought we meant in general.
Oh well, yeah. In general, I can't argue because I don't know Post Malone good enough to even make an argument.
Mario says he likes the "Run the Jewels" song from Black Panther. So, put it in the poll. The only thing that I am gonna ask for is let's keep it to songs and not scores. We can always do scores next year because they're two different genres. Like they're two different things. It's a musical score is great in its own way, and in fact we kind of did an episode already on like our favorite scores. But scores don't get radio play. Like
I'm telling you, man,
a very rare exception.
Hans Zimmer, Power 96. I'm telling you.
Okay. Anyways, good night, guys. Good night, Mario. And we'll see you later, Sith Heads.